Alright, so December 15th is rapidly approaching, which is the date a lot of players can officially be included in a trade. And if you look around the NBA, you will see a lot of parity, which tends to make us believe that a lot of teams might just be one move away. Although I'm fearful that it will have the opposite effect when you look at the teams above you in the standings and think, they're not that much better than us, so why make a move that might jeopardize our future? Time will tell how that plays out. But today I want to go through and I want you guys to weigh in on your favorite teams, or just in general, if you're a fan of the NBA, just weigh in on what team should make moves, what team needs to make moves, and what team probably should just stand pat. And when I think about teams that absolutely need to make a move, I think of 3 Western Conference teams. I think about the Lakers, I think about the Warriors, and on the opposite side of the spectrum, I think about the New Orleans Pelicans. The Pelicans side is not very intriguing, so quickly we know they might be trying to bottom out, which means they probably need to get on from Brandon Ingram and CJ McCollum if they can get something in value for a return, or maybe not even get the value they might think, but Brandon Ingram is expiring. I believe CJ has 1 more year after this year, so it makes sense for them to move on right now, but that's not really all that interesting unless we're talking about what teams might acquire those players. And maybe we'll address that in this video, maybe not. Moving on to the Golden State Warriors, I think this one is the most obvious, right? Because it's not even like Kuminga or Moody have established themselves in the way that, say, Austin Reeves has, and we'll get to that. But the reason the Warriors situation is a little bit tricky is because they can't make the huge, home run deal, whoever that might be, without including Andrew Wiggins, because Wiggins makes what, 26 million? And I don't believe these are like the home run deals I'm talking about, but they can't acquire Brandon Ingram or Zach LaVine without giving up Andrew Wiggins, and to me that's not worth it. If I'm going all in to win right now around Steph Curry, why am I giving up one of the best 3-and-D wings in the NBA? So that leaves you kind of bargain shopping, which makes it hard to give up on someone like Kuminga for a player only making around, 16 to 20 something million dollars. Because if you're Joe Lacob, you envision Kuminga's only being traded for like Giannis or Embiid, right? If you're Joe Lacob, I'm not saying I believe that, but that's probably why the Warriors have been so hesitant to move on from Kuminga. But I think we've gotten to the point where you gotta bite the bullet. And I'm someone that believes in Kuminga. I've gotten, kind of roasted for this take, but I said he reminds me a lot of Julius Randle with a little bit of Jaylen Brown in there. But let's say, best case scenario, you trade Kuminga and he turns out to be Julius Randle. So what? And I don't think they should trade Pods, but let's say Pods becomes Kyle Lowry. So what? So you risk the chance of winning a championship right now to have a core of Kyle Lowry and Julius Randle going forward? Like, who cares? Who cares? So it's gonna hurt when you include Kuminga in a trade package for Cam Johnson or Kyle Kuzma or Vucevic, but we're at the point where you kind of gotta pull the trigger on a move like that. But I wanted to start with the Warriors because to me they are the closest as far as like, we make a move and we're a contender right now, because they still have Steph, they still have Draymond. In this hypothetical world, they're still gonna have Kyle Anderson, Buddy Hield, Andrew Wiggins. You'd assume maybe Moody's still there. GP2 or Looney's probably gone in the deal. Like, they would still have a lot of players. Whereas the Lakers, right? I think they are a team that needs a home run swing, and the only way they can do that is by packaging a bunch of their players together. And then again, I don't think Zach LaVine is this home run name, but he would be an amazing fit on the Lakers. If you're the Lakers and you have to give up Russell, Rui, and another player, all of a sudden you're one of the most shallow teams in the NBA, and you have Anthony Davis, LeBron James, and Zach LaVine as your stars. Not necessarily the most healthy, reliable stars at this point. I mean, LeBron's healthy because he's LeBron, but he's 40. And they also are still insistent on keeping Austin Reeves, which to a certain extent I understand. But similar to the Warriors and Kuminga, and yes, Reeves is a more proven player, a more proven playoff player for sure, but are you really not going to go out swinging with LeBron and AD to keep Austin Reeves? And I'm going to reiterate this because I don't think getting a Cam Johnson or a Dorian Finney-Smith or a Vucevic does as much for the Lakers as people are thinking. I think for a team like the Warriors that already has like a system built in and the role players know exactly what they're doing, I think that takes them a lot further than the Lakers getting Vucevic, right? Like, you still got to rely on Gabe Vincent and Max Christie and Cam Reddish and Jackson Hayes and Christian Wood. Like, that's their supporting cast. So just getting another role player to me doesn't do much, whereas you get that third star. Yes, you still have a terrible supporting cast, but their jobs get a lot easier with a third star, and so do LeBron and AD's jobs if you have I'm just gonna keep saying Zach LaVine because I don't know who else it would be. I know a lot of people don't love the idea of Brandon Ingram, but I actually think that's more so what they need, more of a playmaker than necessarily a scorer. Shout out to Zach LaVine, but I just don't think he has the playmaking that this team might need. But obviously getting Zach LaVine would be a huge help for this team. But we're gonna leave the Lakers and Warriors right there. Those are the two teams that are running out of time, generational players, the two, greatest players of this era of basketball, and they're not gonna go all in for Austin Reeves and Kuminga. What are we doing? What are we doing? But now we get to the teams that are a little bit more intriguing because they could make a move, they maybe should make a move, but also would make sense if they didn't. But if they did, it might put them over the top, even though I don't know what over the top means in today's NBA. But let's start with the Memphis Grizzlies, who are low-key, very low-key, currently top 5 in offensive and defensive rating, 4th in net rating, only behind the Celtics, OKC, and Cleveland. So when you hear all that, you say, why would you even make a move? Just keep it the way it is, and I could understand that for sure. But they have a guy on their team making $20 million who's not playing great, and he's not a part of their future, which you might be able to get someone that can really help you now and going forward with that $20 million. And to me, this is the team that should be going after Cam Johnson. You guys probably don't remember this, but last year it was reported that the Grizzlies offered 4 first-round picks for Mikal Bridges. And that seemed crazy until the Knicks gave up 5 for him, so I guess Mikal is just like that. But if you were willing to give up 5 for Mikal, could you possibly get Cam Johnson for 2 in a couple seconds? Because 3-point shooting is still the one weakness this team has. They rank 18th in percentage and 18th in attempts. Cam Johnson obviously helps that problem a little bit, provides a lot more spacing on the court. And I'm a big believer in Gigi Jackson when he comes back. But it's fine for him to have a limited role for now. Cam Johnson signed for 3 years, and those guys will battle it out for minutes going forward. But for right now, I think 2 first-round picks for this current team is worth it. It's worth it, especially when you have all your picks. And a couple years ago, I probably would have said this team needs to go after someone that can pass more, that can create more. But Jaren has improved so much, and Bane has improved so much that I just think they need another shooter. And I think this team is ready to go. If I could pick one team for Cam Johnson to go to, I think it would be the Grizz. And I know I've only focused on the Western Conference so far because in the East it seems like it's Boston and Cleveland and no one else is really that close. But real quick, a team I'm fascinated by is the Indiana Pacers. How do they feel right now? Do they feel like we're still contenders? Do they feel like we're years away? Because I always felt like the Siakam move was the move before the move, right? Not necessarily that they would get someone better than Siakam, but they would get another player on the level of Siakam. But now I'm not sure they even feel emboldened to go make a move like that. But the guy I'm keeping an eye out for is Obi Toppin. What can they do with that salary that is movable on December 15th? $13.5 million, but again, I'm not even sure what this team would want, right? In my mind, I'm thinking, oh, they need another creator, but they just got Nembhard back. So bringing in another guard doesn't really make sense when you have Halliburton, McConnell, Nembhard, and Mathurin. I know Pacers fans don't want to hear the idea of trading McConnell, but just throwing it out there that McConnell and Obi Toppin together is about, what, $25 million? And if you truly believe in a player that Nembhard showed to be in the playoffs, then maybe you want to clear the runway for that a little bit more. I don't know if it's going to be making sense to have Nembhard and McConnell making about $30 million combined next year. Just throwing it out there, being proactive, not reactive. It seems like this team could sacrifice one of those guards for an upgrade at the wing position. Even though Nesmith has been out, you still might want to upgrade that position. And it's kind of irrelevant because TJ McConnell can't be traded until March of next year because he just signed. But I don't know what the move is. This is not a team where I would give up multiple firsts for someone like Cam Johnson. I just would wait and see with this team. But I think a move is coming. I just don't know what it is going to be for the Pacers. I think Halliburton, Siakam, Miles Turner, and Mathurin are the only guys that are not getting moved for sure. Like, they're locked in for now. That might change as well. Besides that, in the East, who really should be making moves to try to win this year? Like the Bucks probably, but the Bucks are very limited in the moves they can make. I feel like the Cavs should probably try to upgrade like their backup 4 position. I know Max Strus is coming back and he might take a lot of those backup 4 minutes, but I would feel much more comfortable if I don't have to play George Niang. And the guy for the Cavs, I know no one's gonna like it. I know people love to make fun of this guy. No one likes this guy apparently, but Grant Williams. I don't need to sell you guys on who Grant Williams is as a player, but if I'm the Cavs and I'm going against Giannis, no, I don't think Grant Williams is a Giannis stopper, but he can hold his own for a few possessions. If I'm going against Boston, why not have a guy that is familiar with Boston? Might have to play Orlando again. I think Grant Williams is a pretty good matchup to put on Paolo. And another reason this is important, even though the Cavs are playing amazing basketball, if you watch them, they are trying their hardest to separate Allen and Mobley minutes. So if you're going to be playing your 4s a lot with Mobley at the 5 or with Allen at the 5, then you're going to have to do better than George Niang. And Max Strus is coming back. Hopefully he looks good. But having 2 options at that is not a bad lineup to have. And you could go Mobley, Grant, Strus, Mitchell, Garland. That lineup is ridiculous. I know no one likes Grant Williams, but this is an easy move in my opinion. And also you don't have to include anyone else in the deal. George Niang, Grant Williams straight up works. Now, is there a first? Probably not. Is there multiple seconds? Who really knows? But I think that is a easy come up for the Cavs. And if you're the Hornets and you can get an asset or 2 out of Grant Williams, why not? So that is where we're gonna leave it. Thank you guys so much for watching. You guys can probably tell by my voice, I am sick again. Don't know what's going on here, but we're gonna keep battling through. Try to post as much as possible in December. I'm not gonna say every day, but I'm trying to post as much as possible. I had to take a little hiatus because I was sick last time. This time I'm gonna power through and hopefully I get better sooner this time. So yeah, if you guys could like, comment, subscribe, please subscribe. We just hit 5.5K on the road to 6K. I would greatly appreciate it. Thank you guys so much for watching. I'm out. Peace.